I just gotta say, I braided my hair for the first time in my life. I'm 30 years old, and this is the first time I braided my hair, and honestly, to me, it feels like I accomplished more than when I did my master thesis. So today we have a repotting video to do, so it is going to be a long video. I'm warning you right now, if you're not into a long video, you can still watch it and pause it and then resume later, or, if you don't want to watch it. But I think you should. I think you should, because I think it's going to be an interesting video. Not that I know, but I really hope, because today we have some questions I asked you on Instagram about things that you would want to ask me. And I have about 70 questions. I'm not going to answer all of them. Just do not worry. It's not going to be a 5-hour video for you. It's probably going to be a 5-hour video for me. So I do have around 70 questions here, and I will just pick some of the most interesting ones. I do have an unlimited amount of Hoyas that I need to repot, so, we will just continue to go as long as there is memory in my card. I don't know. So I do have some Hoyas that I will be repotting, that I recently actually repotted, and I will explain to you why I'm repotting them again. And then we have some Hoyas that I will be joining with my plants. I actually did forget to bring a couple of them. Of course I did. I don't think I'll be talking too much about the Hoyas that you're going to see. There's still a lot of Hoya questions here, so don't worry. We are going to be talking about plants. I do think I look a bit pale today. I changed the color profile on my camera, and I don't think this is where it's at. I think I looked too yellow with the previous one, now I look too pale. I think I need some wire cutters to release this Hoya. This is Hoya mitrata that I recently repotted, and I'm not really repotting it because it needs to be, there are some roots getting out. That's not why I'm repotting it. It's just that it's a very small pot. It's a 11 centimeter pot, and I want to put it on a bigger trellis. This is kind of a small trellis for this plant, and it's pushing out growth everywhere. Actually, the reason why I want to do something about it now is because I have this, I don't know if you can see it, this big leaf here. I think it's at least 20 centimeters long. This plant just decided to make these beautiful, gorgeous leaves, and it's going through the trellis. So I want to give it a bigger trellis and a self-watering pot, 15 centimeter one. This plant has been growing in my Mars Hydro grow tent, and it has been growing on the lower levels next to my Hoya undulata. And really in that lower light, it did manage to bloom. I do have some cool photos of the flower. The peduncle on the previous vine did fall off, but that one rebloomed like, 20 times. At least it was a lot of blooming. This one is a prolific bloomer once you get it going. I think that this peduncle is going to, it's threatening to push out new buds again. So that's good. We don't have to worry about any new buds at this moment. So it's not gonna blast anything unless there is a hidden peduncle. But anyways, it's growing in my Mars Hydro grow tent, and it's been loving it there despite me putting it in very low light. It's done really well. I see a bunch of new growth coming. Hoya mitrata isn't generally, in my opinion, Hoya that you need to put in a lot of light. I know that when I made my Hoya mitrata video, a lot of people suggested I put it in a higher light so I can get the purple underside. Personally, do not care about purple underside on this plant. I do see that the leaves get a bit of purple anyways, but when this plant is in higher light, I just don't like the way it looks, and I just think it looks much healthier and better in slightly lower light. Anyways, I'm going to start to undo it and answer the questions. So the first one is mealybugs, bane of Hoyas, and how to treat them. I honestly do not know what to tell you. I currently don't have a good solution for mealybugs. A lot of people will tell you that mealybugs are not a big issue. I very much disagree. I had a very serious infestation on you don't see it now because, first of all, it's not there anymore. I used to have a wall shelf right here in the back. Now I have a Hoya wall, which I still need to make a video about, but I just had a very serious Hoya infestation, and I spent a long time treating them with alcohol, and it just didn't work, and they kept spreading and spreading and spreading. I do have a lot of Hoyas. A lot of vines are going everywhere, so it's very easy for them to spread. I really don't find alcohol to be that efficient. It's efficient to kill the adult ones, but very quickly you will see new ones. I did use a systemic because my plants are not outside, and that worked. Unfortunately, that is no longer available even here. So that one was very efficient. I only watered it once and it took care of mealybugs. Right now, I don't know what the solution is going to be. Predators are a good option, I think, but unfortunately, we do not all have access to predatory insects. I certainly do not, and I did try to get my hands on some. It just, you know, for whatever reason, the people that say they import them, they don't, or they didn't want to. I have no idea. So I actually do not know how to answer this question. If you have a good suggestion that is not alcohol, because trust me, I have tried with alcohol and it will work for a couple of Hoyas, but when you have 300 Hoyas, it's no longer really efficient in my opinion. And I spent a lot of money on alcohol, a lot of time. I cleaned everything. I took apart the entire shelf. They actually spread to a shelf that was in the window. I took apart the shelf. I cleaned the shelf, the lights, the wheels of the shelf. I found some mealybugs in the wheels of the shelf. The infestations can become very serious. You're very lucky if you don't have a serious mealybug infestation, because believe me, once you do, and you try to treat it with alcohol, you will feel exactly the way I felt. And that is that it doesn't really work that well, unfortunately. So we are kind of releasing this Hoya. We have 2 vines, and let's not break something. I'm going to try to get this trellis out without breaking the leaf. You can see how this leaf, first of all, how gorgeous it is. It's very nice, very big, but it did go through the trellis. I will make a bigger trellis for this plant as well. So the next question, what is your favorite way to drink tea or coffee? Iced, hot, cream, sugar, froth, or frothless? Well, since several people commented on my ginger plus almond milk tea, I stopped drinking ginger plus almond milk tea. So, you know, whatever. You have destroyed my one enjoyment. I have not had coffee since I had COVID, which was, I would say, over a month ago, month and a half, maybe even 2 months ago. I have not had coffee. I had coffee only once when I was visiting my friend, and I have not made coffee since. However, I will tell you this. My friend teases me about coffee. He says I drink colored water. Listen, I drink Nescafe. It's the instant coffee, and the way I drink it is an abomination. I just boil the water and put 2 teaspoons of coffee in my coffee mug, pour the water over it, and I'm done. That is the coffee that I drink. I don't drink coffee with sugar, with milk. I don't do that. If I go to a coffee shop, I might ask for that, but that's just because, you know, that's what's on the, you know, drinking card, menu, whatever. But, you know, if I have to make coffee for myself, I'm not going through trouble of adding anything. It's just coffee plus water, done. I'm not doing anything else, because who has the time? Really the same with tea, like ginger plus almond milk plus honey. That was like the most effort I put into a drink for myself. So I have a self-watering pot here. This is a pot my friend got from Amazon. I have my Hoya Jennifer in this one, so it's not actually that much bigger. You can see the plant fits really well in there. So I'm just gonna, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put some pond on the bottom. The next question is about my fertilizer regime. I'm curious about your fertilizer regime, and also I had a question, what type of fertilizer do I use? So first of all, I use Rain Mix fertilizer. It is made by Acerne, which is, I think, a nursery in Belgium. I might be wrong, maybe it's not in Belgium, but I think it's in Belgium. And it's a great fertilizer, not sponsored, but I love that fertilizer. I have been using it for a couple of years now, and I'm very happy with the results. The plants grow well, they bloom well. I have tried other types of fertilizers, so you generally want to use an orchid fertilizer. And I'm happy with this one. I used Orchid Focus Grow and Focus Bloom before. Those are fine, but I just really like this, that it's in powdered form. I don't know. I really like this fertilizer. It is very similar to the MSU fertilizer that is available in the United States. It's actually based on that fertilizer. This is the European ripoff, basically. Maybe that's why I'm not sponsored, because I've been calling it a European ripoff for a couple of years too. I wonder if that's that. I fertilize my plants every time I water because, first of all, there are grow lights, for now at least, and they grow all year long for me, so every time I water, I fertilize them. My pond is homemade pond, DIY pond. It does not have any fertilizer in it, so it also needs to be, they need to be fertilized every time I water anyways. So that's that with the fertilizer. And I do have another question about favorite type of tea, bags or loose leaf. Honestly, loose leaf tea tastes better. I used to drink a lot of pu'er tea, but I don't anymore because, again, lazy. There's cleanup. However, bag tea, microplastics, not great for you. I just found out this recently that the bags, the tea bags, do have some plastics in them, and they can get into your, into your body. So I'm gonna go back to loose leaf, or just not drinking tea, because I'm not really a tea addict. I am mineral water addict though. So the next question is about the energy crisis. Do I worry? I love this question because it's like, don't you worry? And I'm like, yes, I do. I do worry. I do worry about many things. I'm a person who, one can say, worries a lot. Before we continue, let's just get the plant out of the pot. It doesn't have a big root system. I do find that Hoya mitrata doesn't make a huge root system. But the reason, again, I'm repotting it is so I can give it a larger trellis, and just, I think it needs a larger pot. It's a bit ridiculous in that pot, to be honest. I'm going to put it off to the side like this. It's a bit tricky to pot this one because it has domatia. Okay, I feel that's pretty bad. So continuing with the question, which actually goes, do you worry about the energy crisis? What if we can provide lights to our plants in winter? I do worry about the energy crisis, and I do worry that my plants are not going to have enough light. However, that is just like a minor concern of mine because there are so many other things going on that, if it comes to that I have to turn off the lights, it's not the end of the world. They are, after all, just plants. I know that may sound harsh to some people, but they're just plants, and there are bigger things happening. And I have been thinking about if I need to turn off the lights. I do hope that I can still keep at least one light on, maybe in one of the grow tents. And in that case, what I would do, if that's the situation that we end up in, I will take some cuttings of my most favorite Hoyas and start them again from small plants, and then I can fit more of them in the one grow tent. So I have two grow tents. I have Millsable cabinet and two Rodster cabinets. Both of these together, Rodster cabinets, are actually a big concern of mine because they spend a lot of electricity. I don't have adequate lights. I have regular hardware store LED lights. I have 4 in there, I think, and they are actually 5. They are 16 watts each. So, and they don't even light up the entire cabinet really well. So both of those, I think, spend around 80 watts together. I did turn off one of the lights. So when they were all turned on, they would use 90 watts of electricity, which is a lot. Currently, because one of the 16 watt lights is turned off, they use 74 watts. 74 watts for the 2 cabinets, and the lights are not doing a great job. Plants are okay, they're surviving, but they're not thriving. On contrary, one of my grow tents uses 75 watts. It is a 300 watt light, but it's dimmed to about 25%, which comes to around 75 watts. And I have a whole lot more Hoyas in there, a bunch of Hoyas. They're all thriving, they're all growing really well. And obviously it's more space. Those lights are definitely more efficient. And I have 2 in the grow tents. I have 1 here, also dimmed. 2 above me here, which you don't see. Those are not dimmable. So I do have quite a few lights, but I think the first ones to go out will be the ones in the Rodster, because I can shove the plants somehow in my grow tents, and then in the second phase, the 2 of these lights will go out because there is a window here. It's a northwest facing window, so they're not going to get abundance of light, but they're most likely going to survive. And then the last are to go in the, first of all, this one, because that's far away, and then the 2 in the growtent. But again, these Hoyas here on this wall are not any rare Hoyas, so if I can get to keep a cutting, that would be great. And then in the growtents is where the good Hoyas are. But anyways, that's the plan. I do worry about the energy crisis, yes, but we'll see how it goes. I have a plan, and maybe I don't get to keep all 300 Hoyas, and that's fine. I'm gonna try to keep as many as I can, and who knows, maybe I will be able to have all the lights turned on still. It will depend. So far, it seems that it could happen, but we will see. Actually, the first step before I turn them off is reducing the amount of light. The ones in the tent are currently on for 14 hours a day. I'm gonna reduce them to 12 or 10 even. I think 12 first, and I think the ones outside I'm gonna reduce to 10 hours a day. So that's the plan for now. I'll have 2 very interesting questions. First, the one is it worth to purchase 1-node cutting of super tiny leafed Hoyas like Hoya Repot? Absolutely not. Do not, for the love of God, do not purchase a 1-leaf or 1-node, I think. Super tiny, yeah, it's 1-node cutting of tiny leaf Hoya. No, don't. Also, don't sell 1-node cutting of Hoya Repot, please. Anything that is smaller than Hoya verticillata, please do not sell 1-node cutting off. It's ridiculous. When I sell Hoya cuttings, if it's a small-leaved Hoya, I will usually, depending on the Hoya, but I will usually put 6 to 8 nodes. With Hoya Repot, I haven't sold that one in a while, but I did sell recently Hoya Repot, and I was selling a cutting that is, I don't know, 12, 15 centimeters long. So it had, I think, at least 10, 15 nodes. I don't know, because the nodes were very tight. So just don't sell small-leaved Hoyas with 1-node cuttings, please. It's ridiculous to do that. The next part should scare all of us because Miro is about to make a trellis. Oh, I almost damaged that peduncle. So this is just some leftover wire. I don't really know what it is left over from. This has 3 fields like this. So I think I'm gonna go with 4 this time. I think that's gonna be big enough. It had 3 fields horizontally. I think I'm gonna go with 4 as well. No, I'm gonna go with 5. When I say that I'm gonna go 4 in height, I count 4. So I want to have 4 fields above the pond line, above the soil line. So I cut into the 5th one. So here. So you actually count 5. And then when I say I want to have 5 horizontal ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you cut into the 6th one here, because we are going to be bending that. So this is what I cut. So I said I want to have 4 fields going up. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5th one, because this is going to go into the soil. So don't count that. I actually only count above the soil. And then I said I want to have 5 horizontal ones. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one because we're bending this. The next question that I have is, how did you grow your following and how to start to grow your following? I don't think I'm a good person to ask for this. I mean, I have started my YouTube channel in 2020. It's gonna be 3 years in February and I'm at 13,000.
Listen, I want you to leave me this hour tonight and take away 12 p.m. tomorrow.
Why would I do that? What are you going to give me in return?
I'll give you a role in my next YouTube video about daylight saving.
How many subscribers do you have?
1.7 million.
After how many years?
Almost 10 years.
Well, that's terrible. I mean, that's a very slow growth.
Hey, you shut your face. You shut your face right now!
It's a fantastic number and I'm extremely grateful, but if you want to grow your following, you have channels, you have other plant channels that, you know, grew 50 or 100,000 in a year or like in 6 months. So if you want that, if you're interested in that, I do recommend asking someone else because I really do not have advice for you. I'm not very good at picking topics, popular topics that will become trendy or that trend well. I mean, I was very much interested in doing videos on discovery of Hoyas and botanists and stuff like that, and that just, you know, those videos are fine and they do okay, but they usually rank in the half or in the lower half of my videos. The best performing videos are always the videos that have some numbers in the title, so that's the secret for you. If you make a list, 10 Hoyas that are pretty, or favorite Hoyas, or if you put a number, 25 favorite Hoyas, those videos are gonna do really well. Or if they have like a clickbaity type of a title, don't ever do this with your plant or something like that. Also, longer videos do better. YouTube does not favor short videos at all. And if you start making videos, you kinda should be consistent when it comes to that, because it's gonna mess with your stats. And then if you make a longer video and the next one is very short, it's most likely not gonna get recommended, because the watch time is automatically shorter. YouTube is gonna think, oh, no one is interested in this video, even though maybe, first video that you made was 40 minutes long and people only watched 20 minutes, they watched half of it. And then the next video you make is 20 minutes and people watch 18 minutes of it, so 3/4. YouTube is gonna think that the second video that you made is just not popular, no one wants to watch it. So that sucks. Another question that is very interesting is, will we ever get a Carnosa or Pubicalyx deep dive? Pubicalyx, no. Carnosa, yes. I do not know what to tell you about Hoya Pubicalyx. I don't have Hoya Pubicalyx. I have Hoya Pubicorolla. This isn't really that much bigger, is it? And also I'm doing a bad job bending this. You should use a rolling pin, but this is also bigger than a rolling pin, so I'm just gonna, eyeball a perfect cylinder, which is not gonna be perfect. Is this too big? No, it's not. I could have actually gone for a bigger one, even. For a chunkier one. How did you get into plants? I always had plants around. My dad used to like plants. He does not like plants anymore. But then again, he does not like many things anymore. So I grew up with plants. My uncle had plants and they were just always there. So I always really wanted to grow plants myself too. I mean, would they hide all the plants if they knew it was going to turn into this? Most likely, yes. I did not like Hoyas in the beginning, I have to tell you that. I did not find them interesting. I liked alocasias. My uncle had really, really big alocasias when I was young. The regular odorata, I think that's the name. It was gorgeous, very, very beautiful. I loved those plants. I actually was more interested in palm trees in the beginning. I do think I mentioned this in one of my older videos, that I was really obsessed with palm trees, but I don't have any palms anymore. I have been thinking about getting a coconut palm, even though I know it's one of the most difficult ones. And I actually had it before, failed. I've been just thinking maybe now, because I have the tents, I would not put it in the tent, but I would put it here. But the humidity is really high now here in the room, and I have good light, so I think maybe. This is tricky because the indicator is in my way. Oh boy, now you get to see me trellis it. How did I get into Hoyas? I don't really know how I got into Hoyas, because again, I did not like Hoyas in the beginning. And it just, for whatever reason, one day clicked in my head that I want to try Hoyas. So I don't know, I really didn't like Hoyas 15 years ago. We had Hoya Carnosa, and I absolutely hated that plant that my dad grew. It looked hideous. It never grew, and I think I actually killed that one. And let me tell you, it's not the first Carnosa I killed. Even recently I killed a Carnosa. It wasn't my fault though. I think I got Hoya latifolia at the end of 2017, and then Betsy actually started her channel in 2018, and it is then when I got into Hoyas. I think Hoyas just found me magically. Oh, it looks actually so much better on this trellis. Interesting. So maybe my issue was that I was making too small of a trellis. What drugs did you take when you decided to collect orchids? Okay, you know what? Orchids are fun. Orchids are amazing. Do not knock orchids down. There are so many beautiful orchids. One day I will have more orchids. Currently no space, but one day I will have an orchid cabinet, you will see. But miniature orchids. What are you hiding in your hair? I'm hiding all the black books that I write. People who have said something that offended me, which is a lot. It's the lists. I'm joking. Kind of. What plant did you regret buying the most? I regret buying the most, my philodendron domesticum. I hate it. I regret a lot of the aeroids. I regret my Anthurium regale a lot. A lot. The plant hates me. I hate it. I hate it. I cannot even talk about Anthurium regale. What opportunity to buy a plant do you regret passing on the most? Have I passed on? I think I have no regrets in that department because even when I pass on, I usually later on get a better deal. I don't think it has ever happened to me so far that I pass on an opportunity to buy a plant and then never see it for sale again. So no regrets. I live life with no regrets. Have I finally repotted my philodendron gloriosum? This is from my friend Alex. He was supposed to remind me to repot my philodendron gloriosum, and Alex, if you're watching, it is your fault that I still have not repotted my philodendron gloriosum because you have not reminded me. How am I simply supposed to keep track of things? It's right here. It is absolutely suffering because it is hitting the edge of the pot. I was expecting it to go over the edge, but it just doesn't want to. So it has stopped growing because it hit the edge of the pot months ago. I was supposed to repot it 3 months ago, I would say. Have not done it. And it's your fault. It's your fault, Alex. I'm just gonna tell you that. Pizza or burger? I would say pizza because I do like a good frozen vegan pizza. I also do eat vegan burgers in Lidl. I discovered these very nice vegan burgers. I do like those, but I think they're a bit too salty and there's something a bit odd when it comes to their taste, so I do prefer the vegan pizza. And I guess I would also never make homemade vegan burger, I would make homemade pizza, so I do like pizza more. I do want to repot my silver dollar next, but I do want to keep it in self-watering. I bought this pot, it's an orchid pot, it's a very weird shape, let's not talk about it, I do not like it. It has, I don't know if you can see the bottom, it has like a thing that kind of elevates the pot so it could be used as a reservoir. This is filthy because Hoya mitrata, but they have that inner plate thingy, and that's fine, but it's very small. The reservoir is maybe this big, so that's not a lot. Plus, they are difficult. They're difficult to take out. They put a plastic piece down there that kind of locks this into place, and roots go through these and then they get stuck and I cannot get the plant out without ripping the roots. I would much prefer something like this. However, the pot issue, see? Plus this pot has also raised center, so it's kind of like, ooh, the visual. I do have a slightly bigger pot, but I think this is just way too big for my silver dollar. Yeah, see, this is way too big. Doesn't work. Anyways, gotta stop talking, gotta start looking for more pots, so I will be back in a minute. I managed to find a pot. This is 13 centimeter pot and it fits just well in this one. So I'm going to put a microfiber that I stole from a different pot, from a different plant. This is just a regular microfiber cloth that is gonna go into the reservoir. I didn't buy many of these, I actually bought only one to see if I'm gonna like them, and I guess we will find out if this works. So I'm gonna put my silver dollar into this. Now let's continue with the questions. What Hoya flowers are stinking really bad? I don't think I had a Hoya in bloom that didn't smell nice. I do hear that Mathilde doesn't smell nice. I think that one is about to bloom soon for me, but so far the worst one I would say is mitrata for me. It is pleasant when you're close to it, but it gets too much, especially in a closed space like a tent. At one point it starts to smell like fermented fruit. But actually, if I take it out in my room, and not have it in my room, but I just take it out to smell it, and if I get close to the flowers, it smells like mint. But for whatever reason, in a cabinet, also in the room, in the tent, just when you're far away from it, it starts to smell like fermented fruit. So not the best. Favorite drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. I haven't seen all the seasons. I only saw season 6, 7, 8, and 9, I think. And not even the entire 9th season. But so far has been Bianca, because I love Bianca. She has been my favorite drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. We all love the attitude, don't we? Complete the sentence. When I was a child, I wanted to become. When I was a child, I wanted to become a painter. That's the first thing that I remember. In the first grade, I said I wanted to be a painter. Hello, this is Editing Nero, and I have a couple of things to say while the repotting Nero goes on to talk about, well, whatever he is talking about. I just have to say that that is a disgusting lie. That is the first thing that I remember. I actually now remember that what I wanted to become when I was a child in the kindergarten was... well, it was Maleficent. I wanted to become Maleficent, and I would chase around the other kids with bowling pins on my head. So definitely wanted to become a Disney villain. However, it did not end well for me. I tripped, classic Miro, and I fell, and I actually cut my lip and my eyebrow on the edge of the table. I still do have scars on my lip and on my eyebrow, so my dreams of becoming a magnificent Disney villain ended pretty quickly. It's a tragic story. I do have some roots here that are a bit rotten, and that's because they have dried out, but the main root is still okay. So that's fine. I don't worry about it because the plant is healthy. There's a lot of roots. Small amount of root rot is perfectly acceptable. It's not really detrimental. I have not found it to be detrimental, at least. So let's see if I can take it out of this pot. Why do you love Hoyas so much? Because they are amazing. There is such variety among Hoyas. They are always interesting to me. The new leaves can be very surprising. They can turn out very different in different conditions. Plus, the blooms are wonderful. There is always something to look forward to. Any special talent? Well, I don't know. I do okay with drawing. I play the piano. I used to be in a couple of, I was in the city chorus, in the school chorus, both here and when I was in United States. I can do weird things with my hands. With my thumb, I can touch my... whatever this part of the hand is, I don't know. Also, this thumb can do weird stuff, like the other one, no, but this one, like, I don't know if you can see that, it just pops into the whatever joint. It's weird. Plus, I don't know, this section of my hand is weird. Actually, this is what people do. Wait, this is gonna freak you out, but... I don't know if you can we see that? Maybe if I go a bit further away. When you lay your palm on the flat surface, I can just move this part. It's kind of, I don't know, is that weird? Is that a special talent? Should I be in a circus? So this is the inner part of the elbow, I guess. The part that's normally here, so I can flip it all the way out, like that. And then the back of the elbow. You can just rotate that. And I think both of them can do that. This is just so... This is what videos have become on this channel. I can also put my leg behind my neck. When I was in the US, I used that to get us out of a test. It was a pre-calculus test and no one wanted to have it. It was a pop quiz. And I was like, what if I put 2 feet behind my neck? Can we get out of it for today? And the teacher said, yes, let's see it. And I did it in front of the entire class. I got on the floor, I put 2 feet behind my head. It was something I shouldn't have done. How are my anthuriums doing? Are they still in bark and moss? Any issues with them? My anthuriums are doing okay. A lot of them are in the back here. They are still in bark and moss for the most part. They're not in pon or anything else. I actually did move some of them to cocoa peat and perlite with a bit of bark. I didn't have enough bark and moss to repot them to a bigger pot and just give them bark and moss. My Anthurium varroquanum currently doesn't look so good. She had spider mites, and my Anthurium regala looks absolutely terrible. I have found that putting my anthuriums in my grow tent did not really do for them. They didn't like it. My anthurium veroquanum got a lot of bacterial issues on the leaf. I think they just really need a better airflow. Even though I had a fan in the tent, it just wasn't enough for those plants. I don't want to grow more aeroids. Maybe there are a couple of more that I want, but I don't love them as much. They get too big. The mites really, do a number on them. There are some that I would still like to try, and I would like to have an aeroid collection, but I just don't need to get so many aeroids that I really wanted to get before, if that makes any sense. I'm going to put a trellis for this way because, again, she's starting to push out a vine, and I think she's gonna need it soon. I'm also gonna put her kind of off center, like that. So we have room for a trellis, and so she can wrap around it nicely. And I'm just gonna put it like this so the vine can go around. So I'm not gonna put the vine facing the center of the pot, but kind of so it can go along the edge, if that makes sense. How many Hoyas is too many Hoyas? That question doesn't make sense to me. There is no such thing. No such thing as too many Hoyas. What is your favorite bloom? Out of the ones that have bloomed so far, I think one of my favorites would be Mapigera and Patella. I really like those because they are big and nice. I do like on GPS 7240, so I like those too. I don't really have a favorite bloom. I think they're all beautiful in their own way. I do like a lot Patricia and my Hoya Lee from Carolina. I love that bloom. So I don't really have a favorite Hoya bloom. Let's just add more pon. I think I'm gonna reuse the trellis from Hoya Mitrata. Maybe I should make a bigger trellis. Should I make a bigger trellis? That's fine, we're doing it. Do you have pets? No, I don't have pets. I used to have cats. That was 10 years ago. And that's when my last cat passed away. We used to have pets when I was a kid. We had cats. But I just decided no more cats. Not until my living situation can be a little bit different and I can keep cats inside, which currently I cannot. Until then, no more cats for me, no more pets for me, and yeah, I would like to have them in the future. Cats or dogs, I both love cats and dogs. I'm definitely gonna have pets in the future. I do love animals a lot. It doesn't feel like something that I should have at the moment. I hope that answers your question. The next one is how to get rid of root mealybugs. Cut off the roots. I would suggest that is the easiest way. You can use systemics. Neem oil won't work on root mealybugs. Not on a serious infestation, not if you have too many of them. Some people say it does. I really don't think it can work long term because they do come back. If you don't treat it well, they will come back. I would say the easiest thing, and this is not just my opinion, this is the opinion of also, people who have grown Hoyas for a very long time, veteran collectors. This is more difficult when you have a big plant, but in that case, what I would suggest is discard the base anyways. Take a nice cutting for yourself, and then the rest of the cuttings, I don't know, you can make duplicates, you can make a fuller pot, or you can sell them or trade them, because the root mealybugs are not gonna go up. So it's perfectly safe to sell those cuttings. And if I do ever find root mealybugs again on my plants, that is the method that I will choose, because I did try the insecticides and they really did a number on the roots anyways. So yeah, not worth it in my opinion. I think this is a decent-ish cylinder. Is it the best cylinder you will ever see in your life? It's not. It's not. Is it the worst one? No. What do you do for a living? I do this for a living. I make videos for a living, and I sell my plants for a living. I sell cuttings. So YouTube is still not a full-time job. The income from YouTube that you can get is not a lot, really. The more sponsorships you can get, the better. But not to go into that too much, because I think there is a similar question later. Plant sales. Usually per month I can sell around 100 plants, cuttings, Hoya cuttings, philodendrons, whatever. So that's been okay. I don't really sell rare or really expensive plants. Most of my plants are in the, $10 range. Am I buying a house anytime soon? Definitely not. But it's okay. I am happy currently. Of course, I would like it to grow more, the channel, and for it to become enough to, kind of live more comfortably. But, it's a job. It's a job, and it's a job that I like, and I enjoy it. So I do think we need to cut this trellis here at the base. We need to cut one of these so it can fit. Hold on. We're facing some technical difficulties. I don't know, maybe we have reached the bottom. I do need just a bit more pon to cover this. So it will go into this pot. This is the final result. I think she will look okay. We do look a bit ridiculous now, but it's gonna look better. What would you be spending your time on if you weren't into plants? I would most likely be spending my time on studying. I did want to go into PhD for architecture. I like to write about architecture. My master's degree was actually in theory. What to do with Hoya root rot? Start it again from cuttings or just clean, rotten, and repot in new airy soil? I would say depends on how severe the root rot is. If it's pretty severe, I would say start again. If it's just a tiny bit of root rot, you saw in my silver dollar, just some of the smaller roots have died back, that's fine, you can just clean it off. But if it's a severe root rot, I would then start it over again from a cutting. My Hoyas imported from Romania, they had root rot on them, and I tried to save them. I don't know why. I would normally cut off the roots. They had very little roots left, and they are still struggling, some of them, not all of them. Some of them have started to grow, but if I just cut off that part and rerooted them again, it would have been much better. But that also depends. Sometimes you will have root rot and only 2 leaves, and you can't really cut anything off. So in that case, I would clean off as much as I can, leave the healthy roots, pot it again into a fresh mix, wait for it to start to grow, and then take a cutting just for insurance. It's probably going to take a long time to grow. We're going to repot my Hoya spitagensis. It's actually a cutting from my mother plant. My mother plant has since moved on to hopefully not greener pastures. I really hope she's suffering somewhere in the afterlife, but I'm gonna repot this into a regular mix because it's gonna be growing in my room environment. It's currently in pon, so I'm gonna dump out the pon and reuse it. I'm gonna repot it to coco peat and perlite. Undulata that is fully rooted but tough old growth stem. Any tips for getting new growth? Even if the stem is tough, I think you can get it to grow. I mean, undulata always kind of looks like that. I would just make sure that it doesn't have mites. So make sure to inspect for broad and flat mites. For broad mites, you will be able to see a specific type of damage. And for flat mites, it's a bit more difficult. You can treat it for mites just in case and put it in a location where it's warm, humid, and light, bright light. It doesn't need absolutely high light, but it does like more humidity, more warmth. I have mine in my grow tent and it's been thriving in there. You can put it in a cabinet, maybe in your room conditions. I mean, my undulata grew in my room conditions and it was fine too, because again, it's humid, it's kind of warm. In winter, it gets a bit cooler. In winter, it's around 22 degrees Celsius. In my tent, it's 25. I would get it to 24, 25 perhaps in humid environment, and make sure that it has water. It needs good airy mix that drains really fast, but it does like to be frequently watered. So it doesn't want to dry out completely. So just make sure that the mix isn't something that has a lot of peat in it, cocoa peat in it. It really would prefer a barky mix. I had mine in bark and moss before I had it in pon. You can also grow it in pon. If you do go for pon or for bark and moss, again, make sure there is more bark than moss, just a bit of moss in that case, and make sure that it's watered frequently, that it doesn't go completely dry. So that's the tip for growing Hoya undulata. I actually find it to be very easy to grow Hoya undulata. The only issue that I have is trellising Hoya undulata. She does not like to be touched. some of the roots have died back. So this plant was staying with my friend. I gave her a cutting and now she doesn't have time for Hoyas. So a lot of the Hoyas that I have here today are actually from my friend. You will see a couple of more that I will be joining with my plants. And she did a great job growing this, but again, she didn't have so much time, so some of these roots have died back, but we're gonna put them just in a regular mix. I'm not gonna get rid of all the pon. I'm gonna leave some of the pon on, and I think it can go back to the same size pot. I have a mix here that is a lot of cocoa peat and perlite and some old pon is also here. I think this mix is gonna do really well for this Hoya repot, especially considering I ain't gonna water it that much. Okay, so let's look at the next question. How's your love life? Next one, you're my favorite YouTuber, no question, just thanks for all the laughs and love your humor. Thank you, 80 Tells Barn. That is so sweet. I love when I see comments like that. Do you plan to get more Sigillatis varieties? Yes. I think I said that in my video, that I do plan to get more Sigillatis varieties. What is the ideal pot to root ball size ratio for Hoyas to avoid rot, for terracotta and for plastic? I don't know. I think you can get root rot in a small pot, you can get root rot in a big pot, you can get rot in terracotta and plastic. It really just depends. You have to understand the properties of the materials, of the pot materials, the properties of the potting mix, and your growing environment. I have seen people here, by here I mean Serbia, grow Hoya curry in 20 centimeter pot without any issues. And I have seen people grow them in small pots and rot them. I know that one time the late Toril Nyhaus said that she doesn't use, I think, or she didn't use anything less than 10 centimeter pot for her Hoyas, 15 centimeter for the big ones. I tend to really agree with that, because then you have to water them a lot if you choose a pot that is too small, if you choose a mix that is too airy. I really did get into this, I think, in one of the previous videos. I'll try to find it and link it somewhere in the corner, which I'm always mistaken about what corner it is. It's one of these two corners that you will see it linked. This was fast. So this is Hoya repot. I'm just not gonna do anything else with it. I might hang it, or I might put it on my Hoya walls. I'm not really sure, but it's a nice looking Hoya repot. And I do have I have Hoya, this is Sigillatis. I don't think this one has a lot of roots. This is also from my friend, because my mother plant didn't really survive due to neglect. Do not neglect Hoya Sigillatis. This one I think is gonna go in my grow tent. Okay, so not a lot of roots on this, which we are going to fix now. You know what? I think I'm gonna put it in my friend's pot. I do have one of these extra, I think. So I'm just gonna put it into that. I'm just gonna make sure that it doesn't fall out. This one was pinned down, and I think I will have to pin it down again. And then, you know, when it grows more roots, we can think about moving it to a bigger pot. But for now, I think this pot is going to be fine. That's it. That is Hoya Sigillatis. I will put this on the side of my grow tent, like so. Perfect. That was super fast. My Hoyas are dropping one leaf at each node. Is this from under watering? Does it happen with every node? Does it happen with baby leaves? It can be from under watering, yes. A lot of the Hoyas also don't grow two leaves on each node. It's just the way that they are, especially the big-leaved Hoyas. So it really depends what Hoya it is, but usually it is underwatering or mites. Why they would be dropping leaves. It can also be my Hoya, a New Guinea Ghost, was dropping leaves, and my Hoya Borneo. That was from a bacterial or fungal, I think it was fungal infection. So there could be many reasons. It's difficult to tell without more information. How long will you grow your hair? I don't know. I think I will grow it a bit more, and then I will cut it a bit, and then grow it a bit, and cut it a bit. I do like this length. I would like it a bit longer. I'm not really sure. When I grow it and I decide I no longer like it, I will cut it. But for now, I think I will grow it a bit longer. What is your most prized Hoya? Not most expensive, but most prized. I would say my Hoya microphylla. Not a lot of people have this Hoya. It is very special to me. It's very beautiful, and the fact that it comes from my friend Carolina is also very special to me. So yeah, I think that's my most prized Hoya, or one of the most prized Hoyas. Hoyas that I get from people that mean a lot to me in my life, like from my friends, they tend to be the most prized ones for me. I get really sad if something goes wrong with them. I don't get sad as much when, I pay for a plant, but when people gift me Hoyas, especially people that mean a lot to me, then I get very, very sad if something happens to them. I think it's time to get some other Hoyas around me. Oh, I don't have so many more questions. What shall we do? But I have so many Hoyas to repot. I don't even know if this is going to work, because I may not have enough space in this. This is something I also recently kind of repotted, but I want to combine it with Hoya Repot from my friend, which I will give a bit of a trim so you can see. This is mine. It's more variegated. It's been under higher light. Hers is more green, so it's going to be interesting. Let's try to combine them. This doesn't have a lot of roots. This has a lot of roots. So we'll see how that goes. Before we start combining though, let's just see what question is next. Which 10 Hoyas were your first? My first Hoya was Hoya carnosa. It was the green Hoya carnosa that I got from my uncle. Gone. A lot of my first Hoyas are gone, because a lot of the first Hoyas that I got were not so, they were common, and they all had mealybugs at one point, and the infestations got just too much for me to handle, so I kind of let go of them. I do have one of the first ones. It's the Hoya latifolia in the back that I moved now a bit. That is my second or third Hoya. So my first 10 Hoyas, it was that green carnosa from my uncle. Carnosa inner variegated and outer variegated. One of them was from my mom that she found in the market, and I'm really actually sad I don't have that one anymore. Okay, so we need to untangle the roots. So that is 4, right? 3 carnosas and the latifolia. I had pubicalix. I don't really know the variety. I got one as red buttons and one as Royal Hawaiian purple. One was no ID. All gone since then. And then I got Hoya callistophila that died because mites. And they lasted with me for a long time. They didn't die right away. I had them for like 2 years or so before I just got sick of them, especially that callistophila. Finlaysoni, I still have that Finlaysoni, the fuzzy one. That one is a very slow grower, so I don't know what number is that. And then I got Hoyas from a collector in Bosnia, and then it really got crazy. And then I got green latifolia, polinera, memoria, because then you couldn't even buy memoria in a garden center. And then I really started to order Hoyas from abroad, so, all hell break loose there. So I would say, the common ones were really my first ones. One of my first one was my Hoya Retusa. I got that as a cutting because, again, you couldn't find it in a garden center. I don't think you can find it now here. They tried, but I don't think people were interested in Hoyas so much, so they kind of stopped. You can still find Hoya Crimson Queen sometimes, or the outer variegated one, but not so common really. A lot of the roots on this one. I hope that answers the question. I didn't count, but let's hope there are at least 10 Hoyas in that story. See, it's interesting how this one is smaller plant, but it has so many more roots than the other one. It's double the root system. By the way, this is not like me knocking down my friend at all. It's just, I don't know, they always grow really good roots for me. Even if they don't want to grow, they, for whatever reason, grow really good roots for me. If you were selling cuttings, where do you sell? I do sell cuttings, but I cannot ship abroad, so I only sell cuttings in Serbia. I am sorry for that. That's the way it is. One day, maybe I will be able to sell somewhere else, but for now, I can only send cuttings here. When did you get your first Hoya? It was in 2017. The rest of the question I replied to. How do you feel about people who say that Hoyas thrive on neglect? You know, this is an issue because then people don't believe you when you tell them they need more water. And they will argue with you how they never really water their Hoyas all that much and it's fine, thank you. And I'm like, okay. I was just suggesting. A lot of the people are really into the taco leaf test thingy. I do not love that. I think it's just the lack of experience. Once you get into more difficult Hoyas, or maybe more uncommon, not more difficult, like Hoya undulata, you do the taco leaf test, let me know how that goes for you, or Hoya caudata. I think it's just a misconception that probably also spread due to plant tube, and a lot of people still believe that. A lot of people still believe that Hoyas are slow growers. Absolutely untrue. Absolutely untrue. They're not slow growers. There are some species that are not fast, but they're not slow growers by any stretch of imagination. If you have Hoya that isn't growing well, it either has mites or you don't have the conditions right, or you have some pest or maybe root rot, whatever, but like they're not supposed to be slow. It doesn't make sense for them to be slow growers. I mean, imagine a plant living in the wild where it is exposed to elements, to animals, to drought, to whatnot, to have it be a slow grower, to have it grow a couple of leaves each year. That plant wouldn't survive now, would it? So no, they're not slow growers, and usually when they're not growing fast, it means you're not doing something well. And that's fine. I also have Hoyas that I have not figured out. It's a journey, it's not a competition, but they certainly don't grow slow. And if you believe that they do, well, you're probably not doing something right. Sorry. So this is what this Hoya looks like, Hoya Repot, now that we have combined them. It's so pretty. Love it. I absolutely adore Hoya Repot. I'm gonna cut probably these off though. What made you start a YouTube channel? I don't really know. I wanted to have a YouTube channel for a long time, and I was thinking about different topics. I just need to put the tag back in. I didn't even look at the trends, really. I didn't notice that the plants were trendy. I don't know. I don't really know how that slipped my mind. I mean, I did notice that they're becoming a bit more popular, so I was like, oh, maybe people would like to hear more about them from me, because I've been growing them for a long time, and I don't know, I just wanted to share my experience. I really have no idea what possessed me to start a YouTube channel, but I'm glad that I did. I am really glad that I did. So, if you're thinking you want to start a YouTube channel, I just say do it. Don't overthink it. The more you overthink it, the more it's gonna seem like a bad idea. Any info on how to tell apart Hoya acuta inner variegated and verticillata inner variegated? You cannot tell them apart because they're the same plant. Acuta is verticillata. So Hoya acuta, Hoya parasitica are all verticillata. Hoya weibergiae is Hoya verticillata. I talked about this in one of the videos. A lot of the Hoyas now are grouped under the name Hoya verticillata. Would you grow any other milkweeds, not Hoya decidia and Ceropedia? I have thought about it. I've thought about the ones that I can grow outside, but for now, no. In the future, maybe, but right now, no. Right now, I don't have really plants that I grow outside. I would like to have an outdoor garden, but again, we will have to wait for different living conditions. Let's go with the next one. This is a Hoya carnosa inner variegated, which is going to get a bigger pot. I do have one on my wall there, but I'm not going to combine it with this one. I'm just going to leave this one alone, and I'm going to probably put it on a different wall or in a hanging basket and try not to get it absolutely filthy. I do have to treat all of these for mites just in case. So I know I just joined my but I'm just gonna spray them, it's fine. Do I have to change my hoist from pond to soil if my house is getting cold? Any winter tips? I don't think you need to change your hoist from pond to soil. I think you just need to water less if it's getting cold, and depending how cold it is getting. Some of the hoyas are not going to stand being under 20 degrees for too much, and that just doesn't matter if it's soil or pond or whatever, they're not gonna love it. So no, I would say no. I would just say reduce the watering. Make sure that, if you have a reservoir, make sure there is less water in the reservoir or even no reservoir. Maybe just make sure that the water goes through the pond, makes it moist, and dump out the water from the reservoir. I don't know what cold is. For me, cold is 15, 16 in the house. For my sister, it's 25, so we're different. So this one is just getting a slightly bigger pot, and it's maybe gonna be on the wall, maybe it's gonna be, I don't know. I don't have any more clips for the wall, for the IKEA walls. And that's an issue because I missed the discount, and they're now back to like €4, which is absolutely ridiculous. How dare you, IKEA, how dare you? So the last plant I'm going to repot is Hoya verticillata. This is my plant, and I'm going to give it a trim because it hasn't grown in a while, and I just want to get rid of this vine that it's not doing anything. You might judge me, but I honestly don't care. I sometimes we need to do this because they get too gangly looking. I actually did cut this plant back a lot in the past. It was quite popular here, and since it grows well, I did sell quite a few cuttings of it, but now it's no longer popular, so I can finally leave it alone. You are no longer going to be sponsoring my new Hoyas. It's a bit underwatered. When I say a bit underwatered, I mean it's absolutely underwatered. So that's fun. We do still have some active roots, so that's good, but there's a lot of dry roots here, so they are not in the best condition. This plant has not been watered for several weeks now. It has been in a temporary position outside of my room, so that's why. Anyways, I'm going to repot it with my with other verticillata. This is also part of my plant, but this has been staying with my friend. So she grew a bigger plant, obviously, because she waters. First of all, let's trim both of them. These vines are dying back, and they have been stepped on by someone called Miro. So I'm just going to trim them. I'm going to put it in a regular potting mix. Let's see. How does that look like? It looks like an absolute mess, doesn't it? It does. Typical. How do you manage the impulse to keep buying Hoyas? Well, it's winter, and I don't really buy Hoyas in winter. So that's how. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, unless you can get them locally or from the same country. Like if you live in a country where you have good access to Hoyas, then it's fine, in my opinion, but that's not the case here, so I will not be importing, I think, any more Hoyas this year. Maybe one more order, or two more orders, or 3 million. Also, I pass on quite a few Hoyas that I want. Recently, I passed on Hoya Platicalis because it was just a bit too much for me, the price. It was a bigger plant, but yeah, it was just not worth it, in my opinion. This pot is too small. Of course it is too small. Didn't your gut tell you it was going to be too small, Miro? I do always, just look at my collection. I'm like, okay, you have 300 of them. Maybe that's enough. And then I'm like, no, it's not. But yeah, it really depends if I have enough money to buy some. If I don't, I look at what can be cut. I usually don't spend any money that I earn through the channel or, anything related to the channel. So sponsorships or Patreon, I don't spend that on the Hoyas at all. I only spend money from plant sales on Hoyas. When I do a Hoya sale here, people usually know I'm gonna buy something new. Though my last sale was for a new computer, so That can also happen. I was actually very grateful last time that I have so many Hoyas to cut from because they enabled me to buy a new computer because my computer died. Where are you from? So if you go into my About section on my channel, you will see I am from Serbia. Have you watched any good shows or movies lately? I recently watched Tale of Two Sisters with Betsy. It's a horror movie. It was fine. She liked it more than I did. I don't think it's the scariest horror movie I have seen. I think that's Hereditary. Any good shows? I have finished Rings of Power. I know people are going to, burn me for this. I thought it was fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. Don't make an argument in the comments, please. I have seen all the arguments. It's just a TV show. The world is literally, in the toilet. It's past the toilet. It's in the skeptic tank. That's where we are. So, I'm not upset about the changes they made to the show because ultimately, I'm upset about many other things. And movies, no, I haven't seen any good movies recently, to be honest. I haven't seen many things recently. I haven't been watching that much Netflix, HBO, whatever. And the last question, I only have 4 more Hoyas to make my collection up to 100. What 4 Hoyas do I need no matter what? You need Hoya sulawesiana. You need Hoya NS12323. I think that one is very cute. It's micro dwarf. You need Hoya undulata and Hoya clemensiorum. If you have any of these, then I think what you need is, to just give you some more options. I think you need Hoya Denisi Frida, Hoya Michele, Hoya Pricktie, Hoya, I would say Silver Dollar if you can get it for reasonable price. And I would say Hoya Hippolasia, Hoya GPS 7240, Hoya VL9, Hoya Leaf from China, Hoya Spartioides is the one that recently bloomed for me and I really love it, so you need that one. You need Hoya Piestolepis, they have beautiful leaves. You need Hoya rigidifolia, definitely need Hoya rigidifolia, Hoya exilis. I would say that's more than 4, and you should probably be able to find 4 Hoyas in there that you don't already have. But if you need me to keep going, I can keep going in the comments about Hoyas that you still need to have. So that is all for today. I have to clean up a lot and I do have to continue repotting. I have decided I'm going to finish with Hoyas that I wanted to repot in the video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you have anything else to add, maybe some of the answers that you found interesting, maybe you have something else that you might want to ask for future Q&A, maybe you don't want any more Q&As. I don't know if you like this relaxed style of a video. Was I relaxed though? I think I was. I think it was not intense. It was not too much of Miro energy. If you want to let me know, I would like to hear it. What did you do while I was repotting these Hoyas? And always feel welcome to congratulate my trellising skills on my Hoya, 2 Hoya. I think that was really good. I did a great job. Well, I didn't actually trellis my Silver Dollar, so. But hey, I made a trellis. But Hoya mitrata, I trellis that. I will see you very soon in the next video. Have a wonderful weekend and, enjoy spending time with your Hoyas. And that's it. It's like showing my weird elbows. Ooh, perlite. Go away. Goodbye! I would like to take some time to thank my patrons. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons. My 3 anonymous patrons, Alex von Siebenthal, Anne Margaret Moen, Anne C, Betsy Begonia, Carrie, Cynthia Taylor, Danube Daniels, Daria Kaminska, Farah, Gina Geise, Go Green Tropical, Houseplant Heather, Hoya Heather, Jacques Planned Journey, Jessica Chio, Kayla Vavra, Kelso, Kristen Sherwood, Lauren Alexandra, Le Plan de Steph, Mars B, Marty Miller, Melissa Walker, Nicole Ferranti, Nicole and Caleb of Schlief Tropicals, Nita Macy, PJ, Rachel Colette Conroy, Robin L. Jennings, Sherry Kumar, Stephanie H2O, Tanya TJWO, Wendy, and Zlokov Niponi. Also, a big thank you to my $3 patrons: Angelina Farnan, Anne Margaret, Brianna Phillips, Kilone, Claudia L, Fluffy Blue Sheep, Jerry's Garden, Lisa Helling, Morgan Kennedy, Nella, Nerdy Kathy, Plant Druid, Plantolania, Ringlov, Sheila Mason Casper, and Tang Watanas Riakul. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: Brandon Pacheco, Carrie, Jacinta, Lauren M, Lori Ann Subramaniam, Luzmin Fernandez, Marissa and Paula plants. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. I hope that you enjoyed this very, very long video, and I promise the next video is going to be quite a bit shorter, but if you made it till the end, congratulations. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon.